Well, I'm back for the time being, after being busy with schoolwork, shambles, holy hell, what the and real life things. I can finally talk about Everspace, made by Rockfish Games. Actually, before I talk about that, let's reflect on what has been happening in the world and my life recently. I had an infection and then I got pneumonia, so I had to go to the hospital. I missed 2 weeks of November because of my back-to-back illnesses. There was a person that got elected president, and some people aren't happy. Cyberpunk 2077 got delayed. Again, Watch Dogs Legion came out. Among Us. Look, we're all gonna- He did it again! And 2 consoles that I kind of don't care about came out. I'm sure they're adequate. Wow, that sure made me feel...
Insert emotional status here.
Now, let's talk Everspace. You've probably seen this game show up on your recommended games list on Steam. You've probably seen it on sale. You probably saw the positive ratings, but also saw the weirdly uninspired description for the game. So what is this? Well, Everspace is a roguelike where you control a spaceship jumping from area to area, trying to figure out who your character is and why he is being hunted down. Think of this game as the story and gameplay elements of FTL with the graphics and spaceship movement of Elite Dangerous. Kinda. There's a lot to love here, but there's also a lot to dislike, and for a while I couldn't figure it out. If I like this game so much, why am I having a hard time recommending it to friends and people? Well, after playing this game for some time, I think I finally figured it out. But before I do that, I do want to talk about what Everspace does right. Probably the best part of Everspace is the core gameplay. You take the jumping from system to system from FTL and add the scale and exploration capabilities of Elite Dangerous, and you got something compelling. Systems are quite beautiful and have a wide range of colors, spectacles, and places to explore. There's even some beautiful but dangerous hazards such as the black holes you can find from time to time. There's also some top-notch lighting and sounds to boot. You can explore a system for as long as you want, but be wary as you're being hunted, and lingering around for too long results in a massive fleet trying to kill you. FBI, open up! Taking the time to explore an area, you can find a lot. These maps have a lot of things to do and check out, such as exploring destroyed ships, raiding outposts, ambushing supply ships, hunting big targets, helping out NPCs, and mining. The systems feel active, and there is a great sense of scale. The universe feels vast, and you're just an insignificant part of it. Big rewards can be found for the current or next run, so making sure you manage your materials and credits for trades and upgrades is very important. You can also find new weapons and parts for your ship that you can either swap to or salvage for parts later down the road. Navigating these environments is pretty great with the control scheme. WASD moves the ship forward, backward, left, and right. Mouse dictates your aim and turning, Q and E rotate your ship, and space and control adjust your elevation. If you're familiar with games like War Thunder, then you'll be right at home in Everspace. Your ship feels nimble but manageable. You can squeeze your ship through the tiniest spaces without sacrificing much. Of course, you could still fuck up since this is space and velocity is a factor, but it's not the end of the world. The game is forgiving since your shields soak in a lot, at least when you're flying a ship with shields. Speaking of ships, there are 3 ships in the base game that you can fly. The Scout is light and fast but can't take a whole lot of damage. The gunship is big, heavy, and cannot be equipped with shields, but is armed to the teeth with long-range weapons, an automated ball turret, and being chunky in hull integrity. And the Interceptor, which is the jack of all trades. Each ship does feel unique from one another, so you can mix it up. You can also upgrade your ship with buffs using credits you gathered from your last run, and switch loadouts if you've flown a certain ship. Oh, and if you don't like the third-person perspective, there is a cockpit view, and there is even VR support for the game. Combat in this game feels intense. With the amount of control you have over your ship, you can really get into some crazy dogfights. You might have noticed the abundance of asteroids and rocks floating around the areas. This is intentional as you can dart around, peek, and duck for cover using them. Using the environment for a surprise attack or a hasty retreat is a nice touch. You can also trick the GMB ships sometimes floating around and engaging your pursuers. Just make sure that they're on your side for the time being. So, if this video is titled The Problem with Everspace, why did I say a lot of good things about it? It's because while there is a lot to love, there's also a lot to disappoint and sometimes even hate. There is a story to this game. The good news is that it's there, but the bad is that it's not that interesting at all, like at all. It's forgettable. You play as a guy running from an organization and trying to remember what happened while being assisted by the ship's AI. The more sectors you explore, the more you learn. This guy is also trying to kill you. This lady helps you. There's a lizard man after you. You have a funny AI character, blah, 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 blah. Nothing from the story so far really sticks out. Everspace also really likes to have an out of nowhere difficulty spike. You can get into Sector 4 where you've had a run where nothing too dramatic has happened to you, and then the game wakes up and goes, wait a minute, I gotta do something. So you jump to an area where you're getting slaughtered by pirates and lizard men, there's a jump suppressor, a Corvette, you just have enough fuel to jump and escape. Then you get to the next area with like 10 health, out of supplies to repair your ship, and no fuel deposits, no repair stations, traders, nothing.
Good boy.
Of course, that could be narrowed down to poor decision making since it's a roguelike. But if I don't even have a scanner at the start to figure out the risk factor of what I'm jumping into, then what am I supposed to do? Again, that could be narrowed down to just poor decision making on my part. But that's not the worst part. The worst part about this game is the repetition. Now, this might sound like a weak criticism since inherently all video games have repetitive nature to them, and this is especially true with roguelikes, but Everspace just loves to drag its heels all the time. Even though the environments in this game are nice, there really isn't anything that truly makes them unique. You jump to an area, there's some good and bad guys, mine and search, jump, repeat, and again, and again, and again. You realize very quickly that there isn't any real choice or freedom of what you can do. Even the music in this game feels so uninspired. There are some tracks that are okay, they're okay. But for the most part, nothing of note. It's just so generic and forgettable. Kind of like the game. It just feels like the same mush over and over again. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Look at applesauce. That's just apple mush, and it's pretty good. But if I were told that I can only eat applesauce for a solid week, I'd probably hate it, especially since I can't have it on top of some pork or something to complement the sauce. Did I just compare a roguelike video game to applesauce? Yeah. Yeah, I did. So Everspace feels very repetitive and samey for the most part. That is, until 10 hours in, I jumped into this area. This is cool. A giant stone temple hiding in some plasma clouds. Alright, this is interesting. Can I go inside? Oh, I can go inside. I wonder what's in here. Oh, it's dark in here. Better be careful. Huh, there doesn't seem to be anything in here. Alright, well, I better find my way out. Okay, good, I found my way out. And oh my god, what the fuck is that thing? Well, the game just got exciting again. This weird alien sun thing is shooting at me. It's actually kind of neat. Well, I'm about to kill it and...
Whoa, what's happening?
Okay. Well, that sucks, but that was a cool way to die. But after I had this moment, I had a thought. If it took me 10 hours to find a memorable, interesting element like this, then why should I keep playing? Everspace is frustrating because I want to like it, but it keeps pushing me away by just being exciting for brief moments and then dull for the majority. I don't want to give doom and gloom to this game. There is some potential, and Rockfish did a pretty damn good job for a first attempt at an actual video game. See, this is coming from a studio where most of the people behind it made mobile games. This is their first venture into making a game that isn't for iOS or Android, and it's a solid foundation. But its pitfalls keep holding me back from spending more time in its universe. It's why I held back from getting the DLC. Why would I spend more money on a game that I'm struggling to enjoy? So what about Everspace II? Well, while the full game isn't out as of yet, there is a playable demo available right now. One download later, I went in to check it out for myself. I honestly dreaded installing Everspace 2 because my initial fears was that Rockfish made the same game as the first. But to my surprise, Everspace 2 is different, kind of. The second game ditches the FTL and roguelike elements, so now this is more Elite Dangerous diet, sugar, and fat free. You now have a hub base, new ships, new equipment, and an open universe to explore. Judging from the map size, there seems to be plans for a vast expanse of planets and places to go, and no more jumping to specific points. Now you can jump wherever, whenever you want without the worry of fuel management. Though you can be intercepted and forced out of hyperspace to deal with some baddies. You can also discover and complete missions within the systems, and you still retain the wonderful ship controls, graphics, and exploration elements from the first game. Hell, there's even some new types of baddies to shoot down. So it seems like Everspace 2 is the game to pick up when it comes out.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong.
Remember how I said Everspace 2 was Elite Dangerous, diet, fat, and sugar-free? Well, unfortunately, they forgot to take out the gluten and added lard for texture. While this game feels like a step up from the first, I just cannot recommend picking it up. For one, this game is laughably easy. Where the first game had challenge, sometimes to its detriment, the second game feels way too easy for a couple of reasons. Damage in this game works different. Instead of shields and hull integrity, Everspace 2 has shields, armor, then hull integrity. This makes your ship so stupidly tough you can take damage and bump into debris for days and not worry about dying. Hell, the base shields on all three ships are so strong I only lost them once, where I was actively trying to lose them. Then there's also an issue with the AI. They don't react as fast as they did in the first game. They even get stuck on the environment from time to time, and like the last game, the story elements are lackluster, even more so here with the lack of voiceovers. The OST here is but still uninspired for the most part. But just like the last game, the biggest detriment is the repetition. You will be destroying outlaws over and over. You will be completing uninspired missions over and over. You will be managing your inventory over and over. I'm hoping that since this is a prototype, this might change. Maybe there will be some interesting elements like the weird alien structures from the last game. But with the game coming out in January 2021, in early access, I just cannot recommend picking this up when it comes out right away. If you really like the demo, then it's your wallet. But for everyone else, no. So the question now becomes, would I recommend Everspace, the first one? If it's on sale for a decent price, yeah. It does have some bright moments and combat can be enjoyable. However, roguelikes are everywhere nowadays, some being subjectively and objectively better than Everspace. If you saw this game recommended to you and you saw it and went, then maybe pick it up. It's usually on sale a lot for about $6 USD, and there is some moments where this game really shines. But if you have reservations, just remember, there are a ton of different options out there for you. Before I end this video and preview the next, I'd like to apologize for the delay. My illnesses hit full force this month, which meant missing a lot of classwork on top of everything else. I want to have a more consistent schedule when it comes to making these videos. My goal is to have a new video up every 2 weeks. This can be manageable since now that my classes are ending and I'll be having more time on my hands, this will lead to some more time spent on making content for you. So please, feel free to subscribe to me. Maybe even hit that bell icon so you get extra notified. And if you want to reach out and hear more from me, you can follow me on Twitter. It's actually becoming active again. So there's an option there too. So I've talked about a game that I love and a game that I feel lukewarm about. How about the next video? I talk about a game I hate. See you next time.